Good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Schmidt, a meteorologist with Color 10 and Fox 49 in Springfield, Missouri. I want to talk about the big weather event we're going to be seeing for today. Some are calling it an outbreak event for folks across central Oklahoma and south central Kansas. All right, so let's zoom in on that bullseye across Oklahoma. This is the first time that a high risk has been issued by the Storm Prediction Center since 2021. The last one was over Alabama and Mississippi in 2021. The last time they issued one over Oklahoma was back in 2019. So it's been a few years since we've seen a high risk issued for this part of the country. And let's talk a little bit about what we can expect through the day and kind of the data that we're seeing out there this morning as meteorologists. All right, so this is a sounding, a skew-T diagram, if you will. This is what we get in response from launching weather balloons in the morning and in the afternoon. So when we launch weather balloons, this is the data that we get back and that we get to look at as it gives a profile of the atmosphere. So the latest sounding data as of this morning is from Norman, Oklahoma, which is the office that launches balloons in central Oklahoma, shows what could turn out to be what's known as a shotgun sounding or a loaded gun sounding for the afternoon. This morning you can already see a little bit happening there. You see the green line on the left, that's your dew points, your moisture content. It kind of skews off to the left real quick. Okay, so I got an arrow pointing at it there. On the right side, the red line indicates your temperature. That also skews off to the right. That kind of builds a little bit of a cap there, a little bit. And that kind of builds intensity, it builds instability in the lower levels as we go into the afternoon. It's basically called a loaded gun because your energy is really getting very unstable underneath where those two parameters split from left to right. And eventually, that cap's going to bust, especially on a high instability day like today. Cape this morning, which is the area found between the two red lines. So if you follow the red temperature line up on the right side there of the skew-T, you'll see another dotted line. The area in between there, that's your Cape, convective available potential energy. That's a measurement of instability. And right now, this morning, it's already coming in around 1,000 joules per kilogram, and this afternoon is forecasted to be between about 3,000 and 4,000, which is pretty high and warranting the high risk we're seeing today. Let's compare the sounding what we've seen in the past. So Moore, Oklahoma 2013 tornado. The last day that they had an EF5 tornado was back in Moore, Oklahoma of 2013 on May 20th. This sounding comes from that day. And you can also see, looking at the skew-T, okay, you have the green line skewing off to the left, the red line skewing off to the right. You have your shotgun sounding. And you also have a tremendous amount of Cape on this day, getting your instability off the charts high. And they saw a big tornado that day. You look at Joplin, 2011, here locally for us here in Springfield. They're close to home for many folks. Sounding data from May 22nd, 2011, the Joplin tornado. You can also see kind of the shotgun sounding a little bit. Your dew point temperature skews off to the left, that green line. Your red line, your temperature doesn't skew off as much, but it is there a little bit to the right, creating that cap just a little bit, and the continental dry air in the mid-levels. And that's going to give you, again, kind of the shotgun sounding, and instability here, too, was off the charts. I have an arrow pointing to the space in between those two red lines. That's where you can find your Cape values. The larger that area is, the higher your instability. So let's talk about what we're going to be seeing today. 7 p.m. All right, this is just a screenshot of what our Futurecast model indicates could happen. We're seeing, again, storms developing in northwest Oklahoma, and that's where they have the high risk associated with this. Let's take a look at the instability. Your Cape, your convective available potential energy. That index is forecasted to be crazy high, all right, between 3,000 and potentially 4,000 joules per kilogram across parts of central Oklahoma. These storms are going to be developing in a very, very unstable environment. There's also going to be some low-level wind shear in play, okay, the low-level jet kicking up just a little bit across central Oklahoma, giving us a low-level winds, okay, which will give us a higher tornado threat. And the tornado index, tornado parameter on this particular model indicates, yes, central Oklahoma is kind of in the bullseye up to south central Kansas for seeing a higher tornado risk opposed to elsewhere when these storms develop in that highly unstable environment going into this late afternoon and evening. Zooming on forward, let's talk about what we're going to see here across the Ozarks. All right, so we're going to see more of a squall line develop. So those individual storms across Oklahoma kind of joining together, getting eaten up by a squall line or possibly a derecho event coming through for western Missouri overnight hours. We'll say about 11 p.m. in the west to about 5 a.m. in the east. We're looking at mainly a wind hazard with this. We're also going to be looking at a risk for seeing quick spin-up tornadoes, possibly mixed in with this line of storms, especially where the tangent of low-level jet comes in. If we see that bow echo event happen, which we may tonight, we'll be looking at a tornado risk, but mostly a high wind risk. We're talking winds of 70, potentially 80 miles per hour. Now, the instability, it's not as high across the Ozarks. It's still 1 to 2,000 joules per kilogram on your CAPE index, and it does drop off some the farther eastward you go. But by 5 a.m., by sunrise, the event is over with. It's pushing off towards the east. Storms are weakening, and your Tuesday is actually lining up to be a fairly nice day across the area. So severe weather across our area. Again, the bullseye, the high risk is over Oklahoma and Kansas. A crazy day for them. We still need to remain weather aware, though, here in the Ozarks. We're looking at an overnight event, timing 11 p.m. in the west to about midnight to 2 a.m. here in Springfield, and farther eastward, probably 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., the hazards dropping off the farther eastward you go. The main risk will be 70 to 80 miles per hour, and again, tornadoes are possible. In the quick spin-up nature, could be a QLCS type event for us there. The tornado risk, again, the bullseye, right over central Oklahoma into south central Kansas. The black lines indicate the risk where significant tornadoes could be possible, EF2s or greater. They're indicating that as a possibility, which, as we just saw, it certainly is in play for today. Folks across the central part of the country, Oklahoma and Kansas, need to be paying attention today. Here across Missouri, yes, that 10% area risk of a tornado does extend into western Missouri, where again, we could still see a couple tornadoes along that wind line as that storm moves in for the overnight hours. Our risk, though, is mostly going to be for damaging winds 70 to 80 miles per hour. So today's a day to be weather aware. We like to say around here, be prepared, not scared. Have a plan in place, know where to go, have multiple ways to receive warnings overnight tonight with these overnight events. Have your phone alerts turned on. Have the Color 10 weather app handy on your phone, downloaded to go. Of course, we'll be streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and over the air, should we need to, with tornadoes and winds possible coming in overnight tonight. Be prepared, not scared. Again, I'm Tom Schmidt, meteorologist for Color 10 Fox 49 in Springfield, Missouri.